What's up guys, this is Aaron from GearUP and welcome to another episode, and today we're going to be looking at this guy, the SONY WF-XB700. And yes, Sony's naming department has failed us yet again in giving us something memorable like say the Walkman or the Discman, remember those? They're definitely not going to be making a t-shirt out of this, but I digress. Anyways, some of you may ask, Aaron, why are you waiting till now to review this thing? Well, I had every intention, guys, of checking out the XB700 back when it launched in May, but back then, it was $130. That was a lot of money, combined with really what is basically a basic feature set, so I boycotted the thing. Now, fast forward in time, as of last week though, at least in the US, the price on these things have permanently dropped to under $80, which means here at GearUP makes the Sony now properly relevant. So I think now is a good time to find out if the Sony WF-XB700 is any good. TLDR, if you're looking for something simple and want Sony's signature sound and extra bass on top of that, this might be it. So let's find out after this. Let's do it. Alright guys, so here is the XB700, and let me run through some specs first before we move forward. The current price of entry is only $80, so these are Spartan earbuds guys with no fancy noise cancellation, none of that transparency mode or swipe control, so if you're looking for simplicity, these might be it. And these also have the extra bass branding as well as IPX4 water resistance thrown in for good measure, so to be honest, this combination along with that now more palatable price makes it a really good workout earbud candidate. And to keep things simple as well, there's no companion app, but if you're looking for customization of sound, of course, and controls, you probably have to look elsewhere. In terms of weight, the earbuds, each of them weigh 8 grams, not the lightest I've tested, but once they're in your ear, it's really negligible and they spread the weight out really well. The case is 46 grams. In terms of codec, now, unfortunately, this is only AAC and SBC here. There's still no aptX from Sony. Come on, guys. This is 2020. This is ridiculous. There's no support for LDAC even, Sony's own codec. So that I understand because that's usually for their higher end models, but I just thought you would know. Now, the earbuds are rated at 9 hours listening time. I didn't get that. I got 7.25 hours at 65% volume. So not the best, but it'll definitely get you through the day. The case adds another extra charge, by the way, so not the best either for considering the size. But even with all that news, it's not all doom and gloom, guys. These are a pretty sweet pair of earbuds. Alright, let's first check out the case and initial impressions. This thing does not impart quality, guys. I wish they used better plastics. As you can hear, it's just hollow and this doesn't feel good. It is really well put together, so the plastics are kind of a letdown. And if you can see this, there's a texture here that kind of reminds me of, I don't know, like Little Tikes Play School kind of toys. So this might be a turnoff for some of you because this being Sony, you expect a certain amount of quality. So I don't know, Sony, you could have done a whole lot better because if the Chinese and Taiwanese can do this at a lower price point, you probably could have too. So maybe next time. But that being said, there are a few things I really do like about the case. By the way, there's a little slot right here that is really wide that your fingers can rest in and pop this open easily. There's a flat surface here to rest this on the table. USB-C charging, no wireless charging, so understandable at this price point. Now, when you pop this open, this thing is also angled towards you so you can access your earbuds easily. One of my favorite aspects of this case is the hinge assembly. This thing just stays open when you want it to and it doesn't flop around. It's nice and solid. It's not magnetic like some others, but I really do like the assembly. Listen to this. Not a single creak from the assembly itself, so it's a testament to how well designed this hinge is. And as you can see from the lid itself, it's translucent, and what I do like about this, or actually love about this, say when you pop the earbuds back in, you can see the charging status of your earbuds through the cover, which is really smart. And you can also check out the battery level when it's accessible or available for the case itself in there. So really smart on Sony's part, and it also saves them some money on installing an extra LED on the outside. Now, the cavity itself, I've taken one out for you to see it. It's really well chamfered, no shiny plastics, and easy to clean as well. The Q-tip can just go straight in there to clean any debris or dirt. 3 charging pins. The magnet for the earbuds are super strong, guys, just like a lot of Sony earbuds. These guys stay put, and as you can see, when I put it back in, the attraction is just, it just stays right there. Let's do the shake test. This thing is not gonna flop out at all, and that's how strong these magnets are. So when you drop them, they're not gonna go flying all over the floor, unlike a lot of other earbuds out there. Now let's look at the earbuds, and this thing is really unique in design, guys. This is a really small diameter, which is really different from your, say, 1000 XM3s, but here is really where it's special. From the side here, it kind of reminds me of the end of a crankshaft, don't you think? But Sony calls this the tri-lock design. The ear tips sit in your ear canal, and this rests right on the outside. And this assembly at the top here is a few millimeters outside of your earlobe. So some of you may or may not mind that. But as a whole, I found these really comfortable and they stay put under vigorous activity. Looking around this earbud, you'll find the typical Sony left side indicator nub right there. I'm not sure if you can see that. This is really great for the visually impaired or for those of us fishing for these things if they're loose around in the dark and you know just right off the bat, just by touch, which is left, which is right. Right above that is the control button. Each ear tip or earbud has one button, and actually the left side controls volume and the right side controls playback, just so you know. So on the left side here, if I single tap it, volume goes up. If I hold it, volume goes down. And the right side handles single, double, triple, and hold taps to control playback as well as your voice assistant. Now, over at the top here is the LED light. It flashes blue even when it's connected, but it doesn't blind anybody because it points up for the most part. And over here is the bass port. And speaking of ports, here's another microphone port right there. There's one on each earbud to handle phone calls. And we'll see how the single mic handles phone calls later in the show. So stay tuned for that. Now, over on the business end, we have a huge 12mm driver on the inside. When you pull off the ear tips, you'll find a really skinny, really thin sound port right there that's not protected. You can see the electronics in there when you shine the light in there, but thankfully it's all protected for the IPX4 water resistance. The ear tips are really nice and comfortable. There are 3 other pairs sizes for you to try out if you can't find a fit with the default medium. It's a hybrid silicone one, so there's a stiff core in the middle, so it's really easy to pop on and off just like that. Boom, done. So guys, if you haven't heard already, I am trying to get to 5,000 subs and only you can get me there. If you haven't already, then please consider subscribing down below and turning on the bell notification icon. So thank you in advance for your help and get me to 5,000. Back to the program. Alright guys, it is Bluetooth distance test time, and boy is the sun just acting crazy with my exposure today. So it's just one of those days, so pardon the picture. Anyways, I have Beat It by Michael Jackson playing on Deezer in high fidelity on my Pixel right here. I'm going to put the phone at the end of my deck to start the test, and we're going to keep walking that away, and we'll see when these XB700s cut out or start sparking in the first place. Now, these have Bluetooth 5.0, so the expected range is around 30 to 33 feet. Where I'm standing right now, there's the phone right there. Where I'm standing is about 25 feet. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, the Samsung Buds Live just died right there. So I'm going to walk around the house, and right around here is where most earbuds start dying or cutting out. But the Sonys are still going strong, surprisingly. So we're going to keep walking. Right now we're around 35, 37 feet. And the right side just completely cut out. The left side is still playing, which is really strange. I've never had this behavior before. So we're going to keep walking until the left side just cuts out completely. And right here we're dead. We're around 40, 42 feet, which is pretty impressive. So I'm not sure. This is a really strange behavior where the left side keeps playing. So I'm going to keep walking back and we'll see. Let me get out of this sun right here and see this. We're going to get back into range and see if the media continues. Yes, the left side just reconnected and the media has started playing, and the right side just reconnected too and media has resumed. So that's a nice little feature. Some earbuds just reconnect but don't do anything at all, so this is nice. You can also see how these earbuds protrude out of my ears. What do you think? It's just a couple 3 millimeters outside of my earlobe. It's not bad, right? I kind of like the shape. Okay, before we continue with the microphone test for Bluetooth phone calls, I want to remind you that these XB700s only have one microphone in each earbud. So it's one microphone doing at least single or double duty sound suppression or something like that. And I'll tell you what, I'm not expecting much. I tested this in a quiet environment earlier. Not happy with it. It was lacking bass in my voice and it sounded like, hold on, there's a lot of cars. Let's cut between this camera and that and see how this sounds with noise suppression. How's that? It's really tinny. So back to the quiet environment. My voice lacked bass, and also it sounded like I was being recorded in a tunnel with really poor quality microphones. So I'm not a fan of this.
There's more cars. How does that sound? It's kind of grating in it. So this reminds me of Sony's of old, where people complain about the phone call quality and they were not liking it. So this is just a poor move on Sony. They could have at least done two microphones in this one.
But it is what it is. Maybe the next version will be better. Sony, please learn from your lessons. I cannot recommend this for phone calls if this is what you're getting these for,
They're serviceable at a pinch in a quiet environment.
but not outside. So that's something you should know. Let's move on to the next part. Alright guys, here are some of my favorite things of the XB700. First of all is the price is finally right. At $130 back when it was launched, I would have a hard time recommending this to you, but for $50 less right now, it is such a good buy and finally competitive with other brands. Next one is the sound. Like the Samsung Buds Live that I checked out a couple of weeks ago, you can watch the video somewhere up there. There's nothing objectionable about the sound. It is really good tuning all across the board. Now, if you're a sound snob, you're gonna find a lot of things to pick at, but there's really surprisingly good detail all around and has good lows, mids, and highs. And the extra bass is extra icing on the top. It is solid, assertive, and not overpowering at all. So the listening experience is really surprisingly good on these Sonys. The last thing that I like about the XB700 has to do with design and textures. And earlier in the close-ups, I talked about the poor choice of materials and textures and all that kind of stuff. And sure, it sounded negative, but the more I used it, I found that it was playful on Sony's part and it was unique and different in a good way. So I started liking it a little bit more. Some of their choices that they made for their earbuds, how it spiraled and the transparent cover and the texture for extra grip and such. And I started to like it. But again, in this case, is your mileage may vary. Some people may love it to death and some people would just hate it. But for me, it started to grow on me and I consider this a positive. It's a good thing. This is very different from the over-the-ear headphones that I tested, the 710Ns, that use the exact same plastics. And those were horrible because they affected the performance of the headphones themselves, especially in handling. There was a lot of external sounds transmitted in. In this case, there's nothing on the XB700s. Alright guys, now let's talk about the negatives. And the first one of all is that these earbuds cannot be used independently, at least not in the proper traditional sense. Sure, I can charge one in a case while listening to music on the other, but remember, the controls are fixed. The control scheme cannot be customized in any way, so it's fine if you're sharing this with a friend and you can use your phone to control the media, but if you're doing any kind of activity away from your cell phone, for example, the control scheme as it is just not practical. The next two and last negatives are just me being nitpicky at this point, and the first one is I wish there was some kind of sound indicator during button presses, like when I press volume up or down and press play and stop. It would have been nice to have some kind of audio acknowledgement. As it is, the XB700s only do that when you have Bluetooth connect and disconnect. Now the next thing or the last thing is the bulkiness of it. Some of you may not like this design. As you can see from the front profile here, it protrudes out a few millimeters outside of my ear, so you may not like that. But that being said, performance wise, it's not affected. It stays in my ear like solidly even when I'm jumping up and down or under vigorous activity, and I can wear this for hours on end and it's super comfortable. So here we are at my final thoughts guys, and ultimately I give the Sony XB700 a score of 7 out of 10. A thumbs up. And part of the reason is it's great value for money now guys. Remember, this used to be $130 out the gate and now it's like $78.99 on Amazon. And the other reason is these guys are a great set of activity earbuds. They're light, they're comfortable, great listening experience, and really good passive sound isolation as well. Decent sweat-proof resistance, decent battery life. But not all is perfect though. This is not ideal if you're not a fan of this kind of design, the bulky earbud design, or if you're looking for higher end features like noise cancellation. For that, you can check out the Amazon Echo Buds, which is only at $10 more, same water resistance and everything, but arguably less comfortable than the Sonys. Well, there you have it guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and I hope you come back next Friday for a new one. It's gonna be super awesome, and I love you guys for your support all this time. And I apologize I wasn't here last week because I wanted to spend a week off with my family before my son started school. It was a nice little vacation and break. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel down below and show your support, and it helps me get you more videos like this to watch. And you can check out my Patreon page too. There are a couple of ways they can connect and help me out there, because let's be honest, I fund this whole endeavor myself. And remember to thumbs up if you like this video and comment nicely down below, yeah. And thumbs down. Thumbs down to the stench of death. Yesterday I found this little mouse dead in my cabinet. It stuck in there through, snuck in there through some holes. I don't know how, but it's been dead for a couple of days. I walked by, and that bouquet of toxic gases, oh my goodness, it was like 1,000 dead fishes. So thumbs down to the stench of death, and thumbs up or respect to those of you who work in a morgue or with dead people. Super awesome stuff. Anyway, remember to do something nice and kind for somebody this weekend. The world needs it more than ever. I love you guys, and God bless, and I'll see you next time. Whew.